So today's question then. A question: how would Georgia do in the Six Nations, and is Japan a Tier 1 nation? From a guy called Blur Titan.
So this is the fan question now, not
Yeah,
the
this is a
general one online.
fan question, yeah.
Cool. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
You can go first if you want. How would Georgia do in the Six Nations?
Better than Italy. Obviously, it's my opinion. I'm saying it. Because I think Georgia do better than Italy because they seem to not fold as quick. If Italy go down by 20 points, there's not a chance they're going to stop against one of the better nations. England, Ireland, or Wales and France. If they go down by 3 tries by 15, 20 points, it's nearly inevitable, especially away from home, that they're just going to get hammered. I feel like Georgia are maybe a bit more stubborn than Italy when it comes to staying in matches, which basically means defensively they're better and they seem to be fitter. I think Italy have actually got better players than Georgia, which is why they're higher than them in the world rankings. And I'm pretty sure last time they played, Italy won.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I think Georgia would consistently probably do a bit better because I don't think they'd get hammered as much. But I'm saying that, I think Italy got better players. So they have a better players, probably better coaching, arguably. So I don't know. So would Georgia? Is the question if Georgia added to it or replacing Italy?
It just says, how would Georgia do in the Six Nations?
I think depending on their fixture list, they would either finish last, or maybe finish ahead of Italy every 2-3 years. If I'm being honest. By the way, I'd love to see Georgia do better than that, but Italy have actually got better players than we think. They just play 5 of the best teams in the world every year.
Yeah, I think Georgia would have a better improvement rate, though. I think, say, in 4 years' time, I think Georgia would probably do a better job. Like, they would improve a lot more than Italy would, because Italy have been there for so long and haven't improved at all.
This is a really good point. Andrew, because I think Georgia, as long as you give them the time in there to get used to that high level of playing against those teams, next year they can go, right, so we struggled this year with this and this. When we come back to face Scotland next year at home in Tbilisi, let's make sure we do these things right and we don't make these same mistakes. Yeah, so I think they would maybe learn from their mistakes better. And I don't think they'd get hammered as much. I don't know what it is with Italy away from home. If they concede, if they go 15 points down, it's nearly an inevitability that they're going to concede at least 40 points. And I don't know. I'd rather someone a bit more stubborn who's not going to. I think Georgia played Wales in the World Cup group stage, and the final score was 32-6, I think.
Yeah.
And 32-11 it might have been. The point is, and Wales did play a weakened team, and they were already through. But I felt they were a bit more stubborn than Italy are. So I think a good point, Andrew. I think if they were in there long term, it'd be interesting. To see what rate they could actually improve by.
Yeah. And then his final one then was, is Japan a Tier 1 nation? Me, personally, I think I would say they are. They proved that in the World Cup, just gone, would you say?
So I've actually heard from the Japanese press that, Bill Beaumont, had the World Rugby chairman election, and to get the vote, he basically promised Japan they'd become a Tier 1 team. So basically, Japan, vote for me, and I'll make you a Tier 1 team. I know that's not the question, but I think the point is that I think Japan are going to be, because economically it's a strong country.
Yeah,
and they got a lot to offer rugby, as we saw, and with for basing off latest playing performance, they were amazing in the World Cup.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to be there when they beat Scotland, which is absolutely amazing. It's sort of thing, old rugby against new rugby, a coming of a new team. In a new country, and I think they are a Tier 1 team. They beat Ireland, they beat Scotland, and the world champions South Africa. They only lost by 23 points in the quarterfinal, 26-3. So, I think the Six Nations side on the 3 Test match series over in Japan would struggle. So I definitely, and there's also a shout that they're going to play the British and Irish Lions.
Yeah, I think that they still are, no? I'm pretty sure it was before they play South Africa, I believe.
So before they go out to the tour, there's always warm-up games, isn't there? So I think that the chat is they're going to play them in it'd be in Britain or Ireland before they go out to face South Africa, which again would be great for the game. And it'd be a hard game because I remember they played Argentina in 2005. I mean, look, by the way, 2005's Lions team was absolutely just shocking, really. They performed terribly. The players were actually pretty good, but they didn't perform anywhere near where they could. And they faced Argentina before they went out in Cardiff. So this is the first time this similar sort of thing's done. And I think they lost or drew. They were holding on for dear life, which obviously thinking, right, they're now going to New Zealand to face Dan Carter and Tana Umunga. This is not going to end well, and it didn't. I think definitely. My opinion, yes, they are. But from what I've heard, and if you look from Japanese press, they're going to be anyway. So it's, the World Rugby would be mad not to cash in on Japan.
Yeah. So what about Fiji as well then? That's not part of the question, but Fiji, same level as Japan, or would you say they should stay the same as they are now?
I don't think Fiji are as good as Japan, but it's very unfair because the size. What's the population of Fiji? 500,000, 400,000 people?
No, it wouldn't be. Yeah, it could be. Well, I'd say either
100,000.
A million or a few 100,000.
Should we check? Should we check? Should we check to settle?
Go on then, yeah.
It does take 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. 896,000 people.
Oh, there we go.
So it's pretty incredible considering it's less than a million and they produce awesome players year on year out.
Yeah.
Year in year out, and there's different issues there. So you got economic issues in the sense that Japan brings so much more to rugby in the sense of it's a financial economic powerhouse with a professional league. Fans willing to pay a lot of money, big country as well.
Yeah.
Fiji doesn't have the same attraction, but you've got to respect Fiji in the sense they are unbelievably competitive. Most World Cups, most matches, produce a lot of brilliant players who excite all around the world, and they go to play for other nations like Fakatawa go and play for France. Yeah. They actually kept all their players as well who go to New Zealand as well. Joe Rokafoko, one of my favourite players growing up. I'm pretty sure he's Fijian. So all these amazing players. So I think we as a game need to make sure we take care of Fiji as well. But would I put them in a tier one? It's hard because I think the definition of tier one is a mixture of they're very good, but also economically it makes sense and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you can argue that Fiji it does make economic sense. But if we're just talking about how good they are, then definitely. But my point is there's so many more things to it than just. Oh, they've got Radrada and they're awesome, and they got Bekele Yato. It's not just how awesome the players are, which they are very awesome. It's more other issues with tier one. But if there's a nations championship, what's it called again? It's not Nations League. It'd be what's the name of it?
It's a nations championship, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah. Nations League's the one in football. Nations Championship. You would have you definitely put Fiji in the first tier of that. For the Southern Hemisphere, add them to it add them and Japan to the Rugby Championship. You've got to have them in that, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so basically our answer to the question then is Georgia. We think would do better than Italy, but we think in time they would do better than Italy. They'd improve a lot better,
given the chance, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Japan. Yeah, basically should be a tier one nation, but aren't at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's an inevitability, guys. It's going to happen, but obviously coronavirus has just been a disaster for everything. So
yeah, there we go then. Hopefully that answered your question, Blur Titan. And yeah, we'll see you in another episode, guys. Peace out.